So this is the Opel Insignia, and if you're watching the news last week, you would have noticed that I said I was doing the news from the Opel Insignia, and I wasn't terribly happy with it. Let me explain why. So the Insignia came around in about 2008, thereabouts, and it was a bit of a revelation at the time. You know, it really did look something totally different from what was out there, and that's a good thing. But, and there's a bit of a but there, it is getting a bit long in the tooth, and so the looks still work. They still work. Still a good-looking car, and in OPC form it is gorgeous. But none of you will buy an OPC, not in Ireland. You won't. You want to be out of your mind. It's a grand car to drive. I had a spin of it, but it's a lovely thing to drive. But this is the bread and butter. This is where we're at now. This one is not the diesel one. This is a 1.4 petrol. And it's got about 130 brake horsepower or so, but all of it is up at the top end of this because there's a turbo, because of direct injection and all that sort of stuff that they have to put into cars these days. Everything happens way over 2,000 revs, and if you pick the wrong gear, you will pay the penalty. I'm talking about just normal acceleration when you want to pull out of a junction or whatever it is. You know, you're sitting there in first. If you pick second too early, you're in trouble. It will just... There's first, and the wheels are spinning. Second, the wheels have stopped spinning. We're building. There it goes. You kind of have to rag it to get the best out of it. The steering is numb, to say the least. It doesn't... Top dead center is okay, but the minute you turn the wheels, everything turns into Sharp City because electromechanical, so even slightly off center is like boom, I'm changing completely direction all the time, and it's always on as well. There's no way of kind of calming that down. There is also, well, it's just this car, but the tracking's actually off in this car as well, so it tracks to the left the whole time. You know, if you do anything with the steering wheel, you're not paying attention to the steering wheel, you just turn left instantly. It's the tracking on this particular model car. I forgive that because of this one. So handling, you know, it doesn't really do much for me now. Performance, 130 brake horsepower sounds like a lot, but it all, like I say, happens in the red line area when you feel it. First gear, it will always seemingly spin its wheels to go anywhere. It just wants to go the whole time because there's just so much torque there, and the front wheels can't handle it because the engine's very light. But some kind of, I suppose, unforgivable bits, there's so many B's in that, isn't there? Unforgivable bits are the boot. This is traditionally kind of in Ireland, it becomes sort of a sales rep car, okay? Nearly everybody in Ireland who drives for a living as a sales rep would probably end up in an Opel Insignia at some point. Now, I can't for the life of me figure out why, because the boot space, the boot opening in the saloon is weird. It's got this sort of a V in the middle of it, and completely unforgivably, the suspension system underneath, they've actually kind of intrudes into the space in the boot, so you end up with these two ramps either side of the boot, which makes it difficult to put a box shape of any kind further back into the boot. Sorry, the sun is shining right in beside the camera, which is quite difficult to look at. I can live with that though. So what's that leave me with? What is this car? Competition wise, well, Toyota Avensis is cheaper. Mondeo is about €1,000 more expensive, but it is actually about 1,000 times bigger as well, because the cabin space in here is quite restrictive. It's quite snug in a way. My elbow hits that door immediately. My knee is constantly resting against the center console. Rear leg room is okay. Headroom, not much. The slope and roof line back there makes it quite difficult for people to fit in, particularly the middle seat, which is quite raised. Then you have this center thing. There's a couple of problems here as well, in that this button here, right here, that operates that thing up there, but there's other buttons here that operate that thing as well. It's a bit confusing. That has an issue in that when I change gears, if I go for fourth gear and I'm putting it along here and I pull back into fourth, I hit that button almost every time. I've just done it again. I hit and a menu comes up and I change channels. And if I touch it again, I'll end up in the favours list. I'm going, what am I looking at here? How do I... You're back, right, back to the radio. It's in the wrong place and it's too sensitive. The minute you touch it, you're gone. And here I am on the motorway in fifth gear at 100 kilometers an hour. My boot is down to the boards. And there's 120. Then what we'll do, we'll time that, right? We'll time that. That's what we'll do, right? That's the overtaking speed. So we're going to slow back down to 100 and change back into fifth, okay? So there's 105th now. So now, foot's down to the floor. There's 110, 120. So the 130 brake horsepower that's in it is all gone at fifth and sixth, and that's because of fuel economy is trying to make it more economical. Windscreen's manky. It's such a dirty day out there. Anyway, my best fuel economy from it, 7.7 litres per 100 kilometers, and actually I can go into a menu here and change the system into US. Would you believe? Yes, I can. I can change it to US. Hold on. I'll do that now. Do that. And in the US system, it is 30.4 miles per gallon, which is probably good for the US. That probably isn't that good for Ireland. And not bad for 1.4 petrol, but it's such a big car. Now this won't make it onto fleets. Yeah, the diesel one is the one to make it on fleets. And look, to be honest with you, the diesel one is better. It's a better drive of a car as well. There's more kind of torque and power involved, and you know, the drivetrain is good. Yeah, you can complain about diesels all you want, and I like a petrol car, but I like a petrol engine that's been suited or mated to the car specifically. And it feels to me like this is becoming, that the Insignia has reached midlife crisis point, and it's time to kind of refresh the model and give us something new. But before that, we're going to dump all our engines on you that we have lying about the factory in Russelheim. And we're going to stick a 1.4 litre, a 1.7 litre, a 1.2 litre, anything we can think of. We're going to fire it under the bonnet and make it into an Insignia, because the Insignia is popular. And it kind of feels that way, like this was never meant to have a 1.4 engine, and in fact the car is too heavy. I've just hit that bloody thing again, and now I've changed channels on the radio. Now, my biggest bugbear, there is no Bluetooth in this car, yet I have sat-nav, I have front-only electric windows, I have electric mirrors that aren't heated, and yet I don't have Bluetooth for my phone. And if I plug my phone into the USB port that's underneath here, it says it can't recognize it. So, have I anything really good to say about this car? No. The looks are good. I do like that. I like the Opel logo that comes up on the dashboard and things. I like that sort of stuff. But really, it's been outclassed recently. Particularly since we're facing into a brand new Mondeo coming, which is going to be gorgeous. A brand new Mazda 6, which is going to be gorgeous. Both of those cars beat this on style, class, abilities. Plus, you already currently have the VW Passat, which is, I mean, let's be serious, trade-in value on a Passat's going to be more than Opel. And put on top of that, you have a 3 Series, which is reduced in price. I know it's not going to be close to the price of this, which this is about 24,000 euro. But if you're going for the diesel ones, it's going to be more than that, more closer to 28. You know, you're getting into some strange territory there with prices. The Avenzas, the ubiquitous Avenzas, which is not a great driver's car. It's not bad to look at. You know, it is a Toyota. It's going to be going forever and ever, but it's nearly €1,000 cheaper than this car. So you can see where the problem I have where this car actually fits in. There's stuff I like that I think is good, the dashboard layout and the kind of steering wheel system that's here, but there's so many mistakes, there's so many things that don't work in the car that aren't lovable things that you'll kind of grow with. Oh, that's just a quirk. I like that. I like quirky cars. It's not quirky, it's just not working. And that engine just drives me bananas, and the seating position and the steering wheel. And I guarantee, well, I don't guarantee it, but I would imagine that Opel will not like me very much after this review, because the Insignia is probably their top selling car, particularly the fleets. Now, I don't know much about BIK or anything else like that, fleet cars. I don't really deal in commercial or business decisions when it comes to cars, but, you know, for a car of its class, it should be a lot better. A lot better. It's not even that comfortable, for God's sake. Especially in the back. And it turns left the whole bloody time. This one does, all the time. If I just leave that alone, I've got into the ditch there. Crazy. But anyway, there you are. Insignia, 0 point. I wouldn't recommend it for my little people that come and watch my YouTube videos. I wouldn't recommend the Insignia for you. By all means, have a test drive. I always recommend to people to go have a test drive of the car. I don't like it, doesn't mean that you won't like it. But at the same time, there's just, this button system up here doesn't work. You twist that, you get a menu, but you can't select anything out of the menu because the button's down here that you have to press to make that menu. And then the volume control looks like the menu button. I didn't even mention that screen at night time is blinding, whether it be in night mode or day mode. It doesn't matter. Day mode is like dead low. It's white and it's really bright at the top of the screen. Nighttime is blue and it's really bright at the top of the screen at nighttime. Honestly, I was trying to find a button to turn it off when I coming home the other night after collecting the car. It was dark, it was late, and I just wanted to relax in my drive, and I'm sitting at the wheel of something that's trying to blind me and turn left into the hedge all the time. What the? Oh, it's gone into American. I just realised! America! Look at the temperatures. What the hell is 64 degrees? It's in American. 30.3 miles per gallon. I've come 115 miles. I want to go back to the one. That's annoying. Why has it got US on it anyway? Why isn't it UK or something? I might have some hope if it's UK. Right, 20 degrees. Is 64? Where'd you get your temperatures from? Bloody hell. What's 23 degrees then in American? Freezing. Minus 90 or something, is it?